What is going on, guys? Today, welcome to yet another Home Arcade podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about our favorite Arcade1Up cabinets from 2021. And let's see who is in the chat. My buddy Bob, I met him at Iowa Gaming Classic. That's right, we got Donatime, you got Nate, UT, and Michael Paxton. We got Papa Brad's Gaming. Man, it's so good to hang out with you guys tonight and talk about my favorite subject, Arcade1Up. So I put out a call. I said, hey guys, please call in with your voicemails. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you in the chat as well. So we're going to be talking about our favorite Arcade1Up cabinets of 2021. And I got all these voicemails lined up. I got all these videos that we're going to be going through together. And I'm going to give you my picks of the year. The top three, and stick around for that because I'm going to tell you why these are my top three and where I think Arcade1Up is going for 2022, what it means, why these, I think they're also, by the way, my top picks, I believe, are also the #1 selling Arcade1Up cabinets of 2021, based on rumors that I heard from certain people. I'm going to tell you why, and that'll give us hope for the future. So what do you guys say? Do you want to do that with me? Let's do that. What's going on, guys? Vic Vicious, thank you, brother, for always supporting and calling in. Benjamin, Garage Game Room, what is going on, guys? What's up, my family? Dude, I'm so glad you're able to make it live. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump in, and we're going to switch to this camera over here, and we're going to kill the music. Check this out. Kill the music, and we're going to go through. Now, this one's real quick, an honorable mention. Outrun. So Outrun was basically, keep in mind, think about this. This one was released, the stand-up version was released this year, but we got to move on because let's just move past that one because I say that one doesn't count. It was announced and we saw the video in 2020 at the very end of it, but I know a lot of people bought it, so I just want to mention it because some people are going to say, hey, you know, that's my pick. So I get that. But let's take a look. This one. This is the beginning of Arcade1Up doing something amazing in 2021. Do you know what it is? It's the Legacy Edition, but more specifically, this Legacy Edition. This was the Tempest Atari 12-in-1, and we have a few people that are calling in on the voicemail. That's their pick. They're going to explain why. But I'm going to tell you what was great about this cabinet, what got some people upset. So this one is one of the Arcade1Up cabinets that looks closer to the original. It's using a very unique mold. Now, I want to introduce, and I've been saying this recently, using the word mold to describe the different Arcade1Up cabinets. And the reason why we say that is the original 2018 Arcade1Up cabinets all used exactly the same mold, and that allows them to save money. Because they just keep making that, they keep printing that same machine. Think of it like that. This mold can only be used for Tempest. They can't share and borrow any of that. Now, of course, the artwork is always unique on the cabinets, but you get that, right? Some of the things that people didn't like about this cabinet is that it actually wasn't vertical. Even though this video here, shows a vertical display, and Tempest is a vertical game, it was actually horizontal. That's about the only complaint that I've heard about this cabinet. There was other people complaining about the positioning of the spinner. I haven't had this one, but I don't have it, but it's definitely one that I'm interested in. Now, I'm going to mention this one just really quick. This particular cabinet we're not going to focus on, but it was an interesting one that came out, and that was the Pacman Legacy. Now, I know we're all Pac-Man'd out, but keep in mind, 2018, they came out with the original Pac-Man, and they needed to update that one. Give us that original yellow. But this also gave us the sticker coin door, and we've now seen what they can do with coin doors, and it's a lot better. The newer cabinets that are coming out now have a mold, have like a plastic mold that is way better than these. But hey, all those people that missed out on Pac-Man, you know, from previous ones, they've come out with so many different versions, but they haven't had that yellow artwork for a while. So that was good. But now here's the controversy one. Street Fighter Legacy Edition. This is something that pulled at me, and I almost got it, but I was, kind of doing a freeze on buying Arcade1Up cabinets. This one had two problems. You're going to play this game 2 players, and your hands are going to sit at the edge of the deck, right? Some people said this is no big deal. They could raise the deck because it has this crease on the side that your palms would rest on, and it would kind of hurt after a while, right? The second problem was the marquee. They should have just cut those wings off flush, but they wanted to stick it out further, and they had some challenges with even the cabinet itself has a little bit of line of sight issues. If you're 5'8", 5'10", whatever, it's kind of hard to see. Other people have said no big deal. You just sit on a stool and you'll be fine. And I get that. I got this new cabinet that I've been actually sitting down to play, and I have to admit it has its place, especially since my back has been hurting recently. So there's a possibility that in my game room I will have some cabinets that are just sit down, and maybe these cabinets would work for me. But I never picked up this cabinet either, but it was definitely worth mentioning, and I'm sure it's going to be a pick for some people. We're going to jump forward real quick. Another possibility, I want to bring this in real quick because this is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that actually came out before, but we need to talk about it because this year they re-released this cabinet, really. They just reskinned it, but this newer version is Turtles in Time. You can see this is, also they started making these videos that are made for like TikTok or shorts. So, I love aspect ratio, but I have not yet fixed being able to play the videos in the vertical ratio on my live stream. So apologize in advance for these videos. They're kind of chopped off. But this is Turtles in Time. And how is it different than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Well, it's online, right? And they fixed the audio. So good for them, right? A lot of people were complaining about the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Turtles in a half shell, turtle power. It was like not the original. And the claims that I've heard, people are like, oh my God, they fixed the audio. So whatever that was, they got the original track or something like that. It's really cool. Okay. What about the X-Men? This is another TikTok video shot here. X-Men 4-player. This is now arriving at people. People are starting to do a review on it. X-Men is so near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. So I totally get if this is your pick. This is something exciting for a lot of people to pick up. It's another online, right? And so there's a big theme this year about cabinets that are going online. But we got to talk about it. It's time. It's time to talk about it. You guys ready for it? Then come on. I'll just give it away. This is my number 1 pick. And out of 2021, all of the cabinets that we're discussing here tonight, this is the only one I bought. That's right. I have a big blue, and I've been playing with it throughout the week. It's great. It's fantastic. And who would have thought, right? Because when this thing was announced, everybody hated on it. Like, I don't think there's very many people that actually said, like, oh, I think it's going to be good. Like, everyone's like, that looks ugly. Looks ugly as sin. Remember all that? I was like, oh. I think I said it looked like a knife. I remember working with Mason, and we were like talking about different graphics, and he used that as a model for like one of the thumbnails we were working on for some content. And I was like, no, I don't want that shape. Anyway, but then I think John D saved this cabinet. He really did, because when Big Blue was then started to come out, he had early access to that unit, and he started showing people pictures of the real unit. And even this one in the video doesn't do it justice, right? The actual end result is a little bit different, but we saw the white trim. Yeah, Ice Scraper, that's right. The white trim, and this is the one cabinet that I have that has the light-up deck protector. This is the first cabinet I have with a light-up deck protector. I actually like it. I don't know if I'm always going to turn it on, but for the ambiance in a game room, like I showed my daughter, and she's like, whoa, that's cool. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. But that's for sure the number 1 pick. Now we're gonna jump to, and we're gonna say it's okay to go ahead and do this. But what about the cabinets that have been announced this year but are not yet out? So let's talk about it. Killer Instinct. And we're hearing a lot of positivity about this cabinet. This is another cabinet that John D is probably saving because he's giving people early access to information that their marketing is kind of like not doing, right? So he's like, you know what? I have a cabinet. You want to know about it? Full transparency. Here's what it looks like. Oh, you need some gameplay? Cool. I'll get B-Kong to come over and film some gameplay. Watch out for B-Kong because he's going to have some exclusive content this next week. He's been releasing some of it, and that was where we saw first glance at some of the startup menu. They took it further. If you go to Code Mystic's YouTube channel, you can see this on Twitter as well. Code Mystics has released like content that shows the Arcade1Up boot sequence because people were complaining that it's too fast. And they're like, oh, you think it's too fast? Let us give you like a raw footage and you be the judge for yourself. We'll make sure we give you access to this. I'm really curious about, could Code Mystics, for example, modify, and they'll probably have a dev kit, right? So could they release a video that shows the frames per second, in the corner, kind of like with RetroArch where you can see the frames per second in the corner? Does their development team have the ability to activate that and let us see if it's running close or near 60 frames per second? And, in the gameplay or in the boot up sequence, it'd be really cool to see that. There was controversy about this video as well. Because, I don't really like this video because they're stretching the gameplay, and I get it. They're targeting a 16:9 platform like YouTube, and maybe they don't want to show, like black bars on the side. But I think to keep it true, they should work with these content creators, the companies that are doing the emulation, and get raw footage, from their dev kit of actual gameplay for their trailers. Be like, hey, we're using a marketing team to make these sizzle reels. Call Code Mystics and be like, hey, you're doing all this work for us. Why don't you hook up a capture card to your dev kit and give us some raw game footage, and then we can use real footage. And we could even put a little thing at the bottom that's like, this is real footage. Like, this is not Photoshop stuff. This is not YouTube videos we downloaded on the internet, randomly. This is real footage of the Arcade1Up. That would be cool. So that's Killer Instinct, and the pre-order is out. People are getting more and more excited about that. What about this one, guys? This is an interesting, I'll have to admit it right now. This is one of my picks. This is one of my picks for 2021. One of the best cabinets of the year is Tron. And I'll tell you why. This one is what we want to call the attention to detail cabinet. It's why, you know what? I have heard through the grapevine that there's two cabinets that sold overwhelmingly well, way more than Arcade1Up would have anticipated, and that's Tempest and Tron. Do you want to know why? Because there's this untapped market that Arcade1Up has not yet really marketed to, and that is those that want a cabinet to be almost replica level of the original. You can't do a CRT these days, but you can at least try to make the cabinet look like the original. And that's what they did with Tempest, and that's what they did with Tron. And that's why Tron sold out on Target almost immediately. I think that one's going to do really, really well. And then also, they've been focusing a lot of Arcade1Up releases in the 90s, and they haven't really been giving love to the 45 to 55 range that remember playing Tron in the arcade when they were a kid. So I was born in 81, so a lot of my arcade gameplay was in the early 90s when I was like 13, right? It was like 92, 93. And this is just not a cabinet that spoke to me. Like, it was probably in the arcade, but I probably walked past it. I kind of remember it looking cool, but it just wasn't the game that I played. Let's talk about Terminator 2. Now, this one's also a controversial cabinet, and the reason why this one's interesting is the very, very first Arcade1Up cabinet that has only one game. And now I want to tell you that there's not a lot of people that are going to make this their number one pick. But I do want to mention I've made some videos on the topic of Terminator 2. And people have said, and I want to share this with people because I think it's really important. There's a person that says Terminator 2 is their favorite movie of all time. And their, game room / media room is all decorated with Terminator 2. Terminator 2 posters, T-1000, all those memorabilia of T2, and they bought this as functional furniture. Like, don't care if it only has one game, because this is going to look beautiful in their media center, right? Then you're going to get other comments from people that say they love this game, have to have it, and so it's more than just it looks awesome, it's the game. Then there's a whole bunch of people that are just like, I'm going to pass. This is too expensive, and it only has one game, so the value is not there for me. I totally get it. This one's not in my top pick of the year. Not that I dislike it, it's just, it doesn't follow that theme that I'm looking for from Arcade1Up. Well, maybe it should. Hold on a second, because it does have the recipe of it actually looking less like an Arcade1Up cookie cutter cabinet and more like the original. See, Papa Brad, he's saying right here, it's nothing like the arcade. I mean, what I'm thinking is it's nothing like other Arcade1Up cabinets, so it doesn't have that cookie cutter. It's unique among them. So, yeah, that's interesting. All right, I'll have to think about that a little bit more. So finally, let's talk about Ridge Racer. So Ridge Racer is another cabinet that Arcade1Up is releasing or announced this year, and I believe the pre-orders are going to be available like in a week or two. I want to say it's in November. I want to say the 22nd. I can't remember if that's accurate. This is another one I'll be passing on personally. My recommendation for all of these cabinets, if it calls to you, if it's a must-buy, then you should consider it. But otherwise, if it's not a must-buy, then, you should probably pass. Sometimes you'll sit there and dwell on a cabinet and be like, should I get it or should I not? And if you're asking yourself that question, I don't know. So I want to check and see if I missed anything. Did I now ran through all of this real quick, and I don't know. I know I skipped a few. Was it The Simpsons? Did I not mention The Simpsons? Let's pretend I didn't mention it and I'm talking about it again. So the Simpsons is a cabinet that has long been rumored for a long time. I think early 2019 I did all these videos because I had found leaked pictures on Instagram of Arcade1Up working on a 4-player, no, it was like a 2-player Simpsons cabinet. Looked a lot like, the Gen 1 style. And you could tell from the marquee that it was like Simpsons, but it was kind of the Gen 1 style. And we never saw a release of that version. We see a release of this version that's going to come with 2 games. And I do want to mention, because there's a call out in the chat. I want to say, I'm sorry, the name is escaping me, but he was saying he's upset with here it is, Bond. Let's see. So his name is Bond008, and I pinned his comment in a recent video that I did. He's actually upset about this Simpsons cabinet. And I'd love for you, either in the chat or a comment later, maybe someone can explain this to me, because he makes a good point. He says, look, when you look at the video of the Simpsons cabinet, so look closely, look at the size of the trackball. The size of the trackball looks large. Now, I may be incorrect, but I know that I have this 12-in-1 cabinet over here, the Atari 12-in-1 from the original, and the trackball is small. And he says, this one looks big, kind of like more like maybe Golden Tee. I remember playing Golden Tee like at CES 2020, and the trackball looked big, like it's a half trackball, right? So are there 2 different sizes of trackballs? Is there like, if you're using the HAP one, it's going to be a larger diameter, but then if you're using these, it's a smaller diameter. Anyway, so Bond008A kind of feels like is like a bait and switch, I want to say. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I'm just trying to find the expression to say it, where when he saw the packaging, he expected a certain thing, and then when he actually got the cabinet, he got something different, and he's a little disappointed. There was a conversation about it before this video happened, and Brad was talking about what he did. Papa Brad Gaming, let's see. He was talking about how he upgraded. No, it's other things. I can't find the chat now. He was saying that he upgraded, to Glenn's Retro Show. And then, there's always this argument, like, when you buy these expensive Arcade1Up cabinets, should you immediately be swapping out the trackball for one that meets your expectations, So that's kind of the interesting thing. So what do you guys think so far of of the lineup from Arcade1Up, I want to say, I almost did the video like this, like 2021 seems to be like a very, very hot lineup of Arcade1Up cabinets. And I definitely want to hear from you what your favorite pick is. And in the live chat, if you could do me a favor, just mention me, at Console Kits, and then I will go start your message with that, and then I'll read it. And while you're doing that, give me your either top pick or your top 3 picks for the year of your favorite Arcade1Up cabinet. We're going to play some voicemails, and here's the first one, so we can get other people's perspective. Let me make sure I got this right. Here we go.
Hey, Justin, this is Patrick Casey. Been watching your show for a while, and I enjoy it.
Hey, Patrick.
I wanted to weigh in on the best cabinets of 2021 for Arcade1Up. My vote, I'm going to limit to just cabinets that have been released and are in people's hands right now.
Yep.
And my vote goes to Atari Tempest Legacy. Because quite simply, it is one of the few cabinets that's not priced over $600. So it's still affordable.
Yeah, affordable. Okay.
It's re-released a bunch of games that everybody missed out on in the first generation if they didn't buy a cab then. And it looks fantastic. And there's nothing wrong with it. The controls are great. If you watch Philly Chick play Tempest, you know the spinner is great on it. The trackball is great. There's just nothing wrong with it. There's no unforced errors on it like there are with some of the new released cabs that are having issues with the sound. And those are the cabinets that have the headphone jack.
Right.
So those are unforced errors. So there's none of those problems with the Atari Tempest Legacy. It just looks great, and it gives the feel of an arcade. And I'm going on too long, so I'm going to end the call now. Enjoy the show. Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick, for calling in. I really appreciate it. And, he makes a really good point, and I 100% agree with him on this. One of the reasons why Tempest is in my top picks, I want to say it's number 2. Number 2 top pick of the year is Tempest because, I want it. I haven't got it yet. I'm now in a position to be able to pick up more cabinets. I'm thinking about selling my original Atari 12-in-1, although it means a lot to me because it was like the 3rd cabinet I'd ever bought, and I've modded it. I really love the look and feel of this Tempest cabinet, and I want to encourage Arcade1Up to continue doing that for the next year. And I really believe they are. Yeah, I know they are, because those are the cabinets that are selling so well. And if they're going to have this increase in price, they know. I've heard from them. They have to double down on it being unique and give value, and that value comes from trying to recreate that arcade experience to the next level. Great pick, Patrick. I agree with you. I agree. Of course, I'm going to agree with you because I agree. And here is our next one, our next voicemail.
Well, and I don't really have...
hold on a second. And keep chatting. I see everyone in the chat mentioning me. That's great. It's awesome. And once we get through these voicemails, I'll start reading them. We'll have a good time. Okay, here's the next voicemail.
Good morning, Mr. Console Kits.
Now, I want to mention, this is this is Constorm. This is Keith, a fan of the channel, and I love his content as well. And he makes some really good points on his picks for the year. And you got to make a video on this, dude. You made a video, Constorm, last week on 2021 predictions. Fantastic video. If you guys haven't checked it out, he makes a top 10, like what they should build, make for next year. It's great. It's great content. He does a really great job. Here he is on his voicemail for today's topic.
And when it comes to favorite Arcade1Up cabinets of 2021, I'd like to think that I only really have a top 3 in this situation, not counting Project Ghost, obviously.
Obviously.
Because that is a custom build that is not an Arcade1Up cabinet. As far as top 3 goes, I don't really have Tron yet, so I can't put it in. But Tempest, easily my number 3. It looks great.
Wow.
It looks like they did a fantastic job on it.
There's a theme boiling.
And the games list is a bit retread, but it is what it is. Let's see here. Number 2 would be Golden Axe, now that I actually have the thing. I know it didn't come out in 2021, but the way the colors look, it just really works very well. and I really have no complaints with it. And my number one, even though I don't technically have it, would be the Galaga 40th Partycade, just because the game list is far superior to the one that was actually, given out with the full scale. And people are already realizing this and are currently swapping out their screens. So, as far as top 3 goes, just those for now. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very good. He included the Partycade, and in fact, as his number 1. I think that's really interesting. And Arcade1Up has put a focus on some of these Partycades. It actually upsets me because the Partycade is something they're making some of the Partycades like better than the 3/4 scale. Like the Galaga one, has all 4 of the Galaga games on it. Excuse me, I'm burping from beer, and they need to bring that to the 3/4 scale. So let's see. We got a chat here. We got Love, X-Men, and Pac-Man. Michael's picks are Tron. It's all about having a beautiful showpiece. And Jolly Green says T2 and Killer Instinct. And we got Endangered Dog with Big Blue all the way. Big Blue all the way. Bob, my buddy, he says Tempest is the choice for me this year. It was T2, but $700 is just not doable for me. And that's a good point, because what he's saying is essentially that if the price is too high, like, it's disqualified. It's disqualified as being a pick of the year. Pike is saying, definitely Tron. I owe it to my 12-year-old self. There you go, buddy. Very good. JJ says Tron and KI for 2021. Not a fighting game fan, so no Big Blue. And I bet what he's saying is, like, I totally respect Big Blue as being an amazing cabinet, but yeah, his heart just doesn't go out to those fighting games, and that makes a lot of sense. Frank D. Dude, Frank, you make some of the best comments on my videos. Thank you so much for all the support, and I love reading your comments. And one time he was like, really, really sorry for the long comment. No, dude, that comment made my day. Like, you're welcome to make long comments on my videos anytime you want. And those of you that subscribe and watch my content regularly, look down in the chat for Frank D's comments, because they're very well put together, and I think you'll enjoy it as well. So he says my top pick would be the Defender Partycade. They did great on that one. It looks fantastic. I hope they restock it because it was sold out by the time I got paid. Yeah, I think they're going to come back. That's another one of those that sold overwhelmingly fast. And I think that's a message to Arcade1Up that there's a need out there that needs to be filled. Lori says Tempest. Tron gets an honorable mention simply because it's not out yet. Very good point. Garage Gamer says Simpsons is my favorite cab so far, and I have seen on Twitter Garage Gamer is showing pictures of he has the Simpsons cabinet. So he's not just saying it's his favorite cabinet that's been released. He got it yesterday, and it looks better than Big Blue in his opinion. Wow, that's really cool. And then we got Reset Rudy, not Rudy Roundhouse. Number 1 pick, Big Blue. Number 2, Tempest. Number 3, MK Legacy. So we're going to continue on in the chat just for a second. We have more voicemails, and I definitely want you to hear these other voicemails that are there because they're really good. And this next one is from JJ.
Hey, Justin. JJ down here in Texas. My favorite console of all time has got to be the Atari 12-in-1, just because of the variety. So many great games from an era that I was really into. My favorite for 2021, probably the upcoming Tron.
Upcoming Tron.
It's got the special controls.
See?
Nothing else quite.
You listening, John?
Just phenomenal.
Nothing else quite like it. Do you hear that, John? Tempest, Tron, John D, I'm talking to you. Make them special. Make them unique. People fall in love. Thank you so much for calling in, JJ. And he was saying he's a little under the weather, so I hope you're feeling better. A little bit of a cold, I believe. So we got WKRP Cincinnati. He says Tron, best cabinet because of the efforts and the detail. I get that game's not the best. Oh, I'm not showing it. Here we go. I get the games that's not the best, but if you judge solely based on the recreation, it's impressive. Hobby Hands. I own Tempest and have great game. Second, I think what he's saying is my number one is Tempest, and my second is Tron. See, there's this theme. People aren't stupid. They see it. Okay, Retro Arcade Music Man. I have the thought process where I should have a cabinet with each style of control panel. I love this idea. I love it as well. So my vote is Tron on this round. So the idea, if you haven't heard of it, is go pick Arcade1Up cabinets that have unique controls. Like you have a Star Wars or maybe an Outrun. That we're going to fill your needs of, turning the joystick like this. Maybe you want a fighting cabinet. Maybe you want to beat 'em up. And then you want a Tron. Maybe you want a Tempest. Those will give you variety in gameplay because every cabinet that you go to is going to be fundamentally different because the controls make those games different. Like you can't go from one and go to the other and be playing the same type of game, right? Like if you mix it up like that, I think it's a really good idea. And that is actually my plan, is kind of consolidate some of the cabinets that I have and reduce them by different styles. And I think Arcade1Up is going to continue on pushing the envelope and coming out with different style cabinets. I think that's coming in 2022. So keep those chats coming, and we'll circle back to that. We have a couple more voicemails. They're really exciting and interesting. I'm going to share another one with you.
Hey, Justin, it's Mike of All Trades.
Mike of All Trades.
You were wondering about my favorite cab.
I was wondering.
21 from Arcade1Up. That cabinet will be Big Blue.
Big Blue.
While I have recorded a couple of videos and posted them about my negativity towards the product, price, et cetera, et cetera. Once getting it into my hands and into my home, I have to say it's probably the most played cabinet that I own.
Do you hear that, guys? See, Mike of All Trades, he's like, look, I put out a video, and I said, here's my thoughts on it, and he basically said all these negative things about it. High price, and I don't really like the look of it, but then he got it, and then he played it, and then he changed his mind. That's what happens. That's what happened with me.
The versatility between just more than just fighting games, but, Knights of the Round and Super Puzzle Fighter, the diversity that the cabinet offers, and with every game being able to be played online.
Online, all 12.
I feel that it's a great value, even now with being able to bundle it with certain things. I think that it provides something that a lot of people may not have thought about having in their homes.
Right.
But once they get it in, they'll enjoy. And plus, Capcom Sports Club it's a sleeper hit.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I think. Thanks for hearing me. Bye.
Thank you, Mike, for call in. That's great, man. I love Big Blue as well, and I haven't even played all the games on it. We just put it together. I haven't even assembled the riser. That's the one I was talking about earlier, where I'm actually playing it sitting on a very low stool, and I've been enjoying that, actually. We're going to build the riser soon. I'm going to try that out, but this may be one of the first cabs that I ever... It's possible that I keep it off the riser. It's like, is that wrong? I don't know, but Fredo, the Fredo 16, he says, this person says, I purchased Tron, class of 81, and the 4 new QVC partycades and the new countercade in 2021. More and more, I'd like the Tempest. Yeah, see, the class of 81, that is my third pick. So this is where my picks go. Number 1, Big Blue. I bought it. I love it. Number 2, Tempest. I want it. Don't have it yet. And 3, class of 1981. Don't have it, but I want it. And here's the idea. Big Blue, it's just a way more better cabinet than I thought. All 12 games are online. I played Echo Fighters for the first time yesterday. Oh my God, that game is so fun. I never knew about that game, and it introduced me to it. I can't wait to play it. That's the one I want to play online as well. I'm looking forward to. I haven't even touched online yet with the Big Blue, but I'm excited to play with you guys. I really want to do it. I'm going to figure out a way where say, hey, I'm online. Who wants to try to beat me at these games? I'm excited about that. And, yeah, I think it'll be cool. So JJ says, sorry, it jumped here. I'm going to scroll back up because JJ had a comment. I'm trying to catch up with the chat here. Come on, give me a second, guys. Okay, JJ says Defender Partycade is an alternative. Wish I knew where to find one. So I think QVC right now is the only one that has it. There was someone who told me they saw it go out of stock, but they could go on a waiting list. And now I think the waiting list is gone. I think just keep hitting refresh every couple days on the Defender. I'll make a community post if I see them online. You may want to also follow 19K Fox. If you follow 19K Fox and turn on notifications, he also posts a lot of availability of deals, and he's a great person to follow when it comes to that. Vic Vicious says Tron and Tempest are the prettiest cabinets besides the Star Wars, hands down. Another one, I don't think I'll ever get rid of the Star Wars unless they re-release it in a different form. Maybe. We'll see. He also says, I have picked X-Men as best 2021 cab, but I'm holding out for the proper 6-player version. Oh, check this out. P-Dubs, thank you so much for renewing your membership. I really appreciate that. And let's see, looking for more. Yeah, Frank D. Vic Vicious T2 is king, but for $4.99, not $6.99. See? The price of the cabinet, it's going to be a tough one. Worst Django says Big Blue. It's beautiful, and most importantly, all 12 games are online. Awesome netcode. That's great. Clax29, he says, my favorite would be Tempest, 12 great games, and for the cost of the 1-game T2 or 2-game Tron, I can get Tempest and Partycade for less money, a lot more games. See what he's doing here? So he's skipping on Tron, he's skipping on T2, and he's doing that because they have fewer games, although they would look beautiful. You can get you can get Tempest, and I think he's talking about a Partycade, like maybe Defender. Like, that's a pretty good lineup. If you want to save some money, you pay $450, I want to say, for Tempest, and then get the Defender Partycade for about $220. And you're going to get 10 games on the Defender, right? And then 12 games on the Tempest. Unique control style. And what I love about the Defender Partycade, which I don't have yet, but it's on my wish list. I should have got it when I had the chance. And that is because the control panel it's basically the Defender control panel. And that's great. And I've been playing Defender on Sega Genesis recently, and I've been playing Sinistar. My daughter is just in love with Sinistar, and we were watching Retro Ralph's Chasing Nostalgia the other day, and he highlights Sinistar, and he's like trying to get into the Sinistar, and my daughter's like, "Oh my God, it's Sinistar!" Because she's like, it's like her new favorite game now because we were playing it on this Sega Genesis Classic, on an Arcade1Up. You know, through I've been testing out the new Intech Gaming Sega control panel where you can play Sega games on an Arcade1Up, and so I bought a cartridge that's like a multi-cart. You know, it's basically those Williams classics, and we've been playing that, and they ported those arcade games, but the controls were kind of meant for a video game console, which, you know, means that they can be played, probably not like arcade quality, but they could be played on an Arcade1Up that just has your 2-player buttons and sticks. I'll make a video on it later. I think it's really cool. And now we have another voicemail that I'd like to share with you. It's another view. It's another thought. Now, I want to say this person is disqualified. He's disqualified for the pick of the year. But let's hear him out. Let's not shame him. Let's not bash him. Let's hear him out, even though that was my instinct. I wanted to be like, disqualified. I said best Arcade1Up 2020 cabinets. And all of a sudden you bring up another company, which is okay. It's okay. Let's expand it for a second. Let's just say 2021 best of all home arcade. All home arcade. We're all a family. We can expand that. Let's hear what he has to say.
Justin, it's Rainwater Games, man. Hey, my favorite cab from last year. I don't know if it's a surprise to a lot of people.
Is it a surprise?
I would go with the iArcade.
Oh,
and the reason that I
iArcade,
is
really?
I think we spend a lot of time comparing, and I'm a hypocrite in this too, comparing the iArcade with other cabinets. And I don't think that that's necessarily a fair comparison. I think that they're different.
Hold on. I'm just going to make fun of you just for a second, Jeff. You know I love you. But so what you're saying is we shouldn't compare the iArcade with Arcade1Up. The iArcade one is better. Why?
They're different than the other ones, and they're a good supplement.
Okay, so iArcade is better than Arcade1Up because it's a good supplement to Arcade1Up. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because that's weird. Anyway, what I'm trying to say, Jeff, is I love you.
To the other arcades that are out there, and I think that's what sets the iArcade apart for me, because I feel like it's got a place in the home arcade to supplement those other cabinets that maybe are more of the classic games, more of the retro games, whereas the iArcade, I can play the modern stuff. I can play the stuff that I can't play on the other ones for whether it's because their hardware can't do it or their licensing isn't going to allow them to do that sort of thing. So, and it also is a great place to discover new games, and that's what I think has kind of set that one apart for me from the other arcades. But I think there's a spot in the arcades, on our home arcades, for all of these different cabinets. It's because they all serve a different purpose, and I think that's something that is pretty cool. And there you go. So iArcade is my favorite from this year.
Yeah, I think Jeff is right, though. If you were to just if you're going to go buy one cabinet and you're going to pick the best one of 2021, then iArcade should be in that list. Now, if you look at that, it's interesting. There's going to be some people that are like, the Pacman Legacy was my favorite cabinet of 2021, and other people are going to disagree. Now, I don't want to shame the person that wants that Pacman Legacy, and I also don't want to shame someone like Jeff that wants the iArcade. Far be it from me to use this platform to make fun of people, because I never do that, ever. Anyway, but I do want to mention, I do have an iArcade, and I do love it, and for value, hands down, you're going to get a platform that can play hundreds of games that you can purchase in a store. I recently got a comment yesterday on a video where someone's like, I would love to get Big Blue, commenting on Arcade1Up, but it doesn't have an online store. And so here's a person that's like, if I'm going to spend that money, they're going to want to be able to download more games. Now, I do think that's coming later with Arcade1Up. All of these Wi-Fi cabinets are capable of doing that down the line. And all of these newer cabinets have an SD slot. John D has been asked from Arcade1Up, why is that? He's like, we're future-proofing it because you never know what we'll want to add later, like maybe more games. But the iArcade is doing that right now. They're doing it right now. And of course, this topic has been beat to death. The reason why iArcade is not king and not number one in the home arcade is because they have not yet sold enough, and they have not yet have the licensors to have those big titles. But they do have great titles on it. And so thank you, Jeff, for calling in and giving your opinion that iArcade is the best pick. And I respect your opinion 100%. And I feel you, dog. I feel you, dog, because there are a lot of games on the iArcade that I also wildly enjoy as well. Anyway, in the chat, what do you guys think? I think I missed a super chat. Here it is. Sasa Fam Bam Bam. He says, we need Marvel versus Capcom 2. Now, this is a good one to segue into what are we going to get in 2022. And I think 2022 is going to be an interesting year. And we'll probably have to do another show just dedicated to what are we going to get. I mean, we did predictions last week, but what are we actually going to get in terms of, like, are we going to get a Marvel versus Capcom? What are the hardware requirements for a system like that? I was watching a video from, The Code Always Wins, and he's taken, I think it was an X-Men versus Street Fighter, and he's loading RetroArch on it. He's totally side loading whatever he wants on that cabinet, and he's loading RetroArch, and he's loading Marvel versus Capcom 2. Now, he's getting that game running, but it's not running at 60 frames per second. I think it was about 34 frames per second. But he did some interesting things where he, removed the background of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I think it was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, wasn't it? I think so. He removed the background, and then it hit 60 frames per second. So he's sitting there. He's like, how do we tweak the emulation so that you could actually run a game like Marvel vs. Capcom on Arcade1Up's kind of older platform? Like the X-Men versus Street Fighter, I don't believe has the Buck Hunter PCB, which is a higher quality PCB that can do more graphical intensive games. But as he pointed out in the video that I didn't know, is that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has a lot of graphic computation done on the CPU, and it's not handed off to the GPU. So it actually requires a little more oomph on the CPU. And I think he was saying the background is one of those things that a lot of things are going on. And so, maybe we'll get that, but maybe that there's also licensing issues with it. There's hashtag free MVC2. There's that going on. So, of course, Arcade1Up wants to do it, but can they do it? Can they get past those licensing hurdles? Can they get all the companies involved in that cabinet to work together? And then, can someone get the emulation going so it can run well? It needs to run, that's a game that, like, I mean, if you want people to compete, you want to be able to do it online. Like, that's got to be flawless. And what I understand, even those games that are graphically intensive, it's one thing to play it offline. It's another thing to play it online. That means you're going to have other processes running on another thread, another process that's sending all those commands and then receiving those commands on both sides. And you got to be able to run those processes as well. Because, the emulators themselves the game running inside the emulator itself is going to take up so much process speed. And then just managing that traffic and then sending it to the game, there's going to have some CPU cost. And so hopefully they can eventually get that going. So Mike Hawk, he says, thanks for the tip earlier this week about the iArcade. $2.99. Mine is scheduled for delivery tomorrow. So yeah, if you're subscribed to the channel, I posted a community post, and you may have seen that about the iArcade. I started thinking, I was like, $2.99. So the iArcade is a great cabinet, but at $2.99, just for the bar top, we're talking like Partycade prices, right? So Partycade, some of these newer ones that are really good, are like $2.19, and it comes with 10 games. And so you could look at the iArcade. It's interesting if you do compare it. If you do compare it to, like a full size or like a 3/4 scale arcade, you might, a lot of people are gonna be like, no, I don't like the way it looks. It doesn't have the graphics that I want, and we'll probably have to talk about this on another show as well. But I'm thinking that iArcade is probably coming out with a new cabinet. I think they were recently teasing that on the weekly retro party. I think that's what they're saying. Like, that's probably why it's on sale, guys. Like, I'd hate to like put out rumors, but connect the dots. Like, why would you put a cabinet on sale? It's because they're liquidating because they have a new one coming out. That's exactly what Arcade1Up does. That's exactly what Walmart does. So there was this interesting recent controversy between Arcade1Up and iArcade, where people are saying that if you look at iArcade, right, and their prices are going down. Jeff Rainwater made a video about this. And then Arcade1Up, the prices are going up. But what's interesting is, if you think about it, you can go to Walmart right now. There's a whole bunch of Walmarts that have Arcade1Ups for $250. It's the Legacy Pac Man. It's this guy. It's the Legacy Pac Man that came out earlier this year. It's old stock, right? And it doesn't come with a riser. So they announced this one with a riser, and it was like $379, I want to say. Then it went to $400, maybe it's $400, and then it's $450. So yeah, the prices went up. That was basically the price increase for these legacy editions. But now people are finding deals. Or what about there's all these people claiming that they're getting the NBA Jam for like $100, $150. Well, the NBA Jam that came out last year, right? Isn't that a early 2020 model, right? And so iArcade has been around for about a year. They did a Kickstarter. They sold 1,400 at the Kickstarter, which if you look at the value amount of how much they collected, that value amount is high, but the amount of arcades they sold is very low. And maybe they've sold double that since then in the year. I don't know. Maybe they've sold 10,000. I don't know how many cabinets they sold. But when you say arcade, why is iArcade discounting? I think it's because they got a new model. If you think about it, there's all these people that are saying, in your next cabinet, can you make a light up marquee? iArcade, can you do this? Can you do that? And they're like, yeah, we hear you. Well, they're not going to make adjustments to their current cabinet. They're going to come out with a new one. Anyway, so coming back to Mike Hawk, $299 just for the bar top. When you think about it as just a party kit, I think it's a great deal. I didn't get mine that cheap, and I was an early Kickstarter. That's a better deal than even the Kickstarters got. So anyway, enough about iArcade. Today we're talking about your favorite Arcade1Up. I'm sorry if I went on a little rant there, but I think it's really interesting. Street Fighter 2 Legacy, he's saying, is $299 at Walmart websites right now. So this. Oh man, you're gonna get me fired up, guys. You're gonna get me fired up. So check this out. Let's make sure we take a look at this, because man, if you go to Walmart.com, okay, And they do this. I'm telling you. You got to be careful. Arcade1Up, no riser. Now there's a handful of cabinets that you'll like. I think one, if you dig deep, you're gonna find it actually says no riser trying to be very clear. But what he's talking about is the Street Fighter 2 Legacy, $299 at Walmart website right now. This particular one, it went up another $100. I guess I missed out on that. But if you keep on looking at some of these cabinets, I don't have the link, but if you look for Arcade1Up, you can find ones with a cheaper or inexpensive price, like $299. And there was even someone who showed me a picture of it, and it showed it with a riser. But when they got it, it did not come with a riser. So you got to be careful. And then when you get it, what are you going to do? So like this one right here, like the picture, it's like they cut it off. So it's $315. It's $315, but it's like there's the riser picture. But it's like, no, this one, does it come with a riser or not? I don't know, but it is $315. And so when you look at it here, it looks like there was a riser there and then they cut it off. I don't know. Maybe this is the picture without the riser. I don't know. Just to me, that kind of looked like it was. You can kind of see a riser there, right? That's like clearly clipped off. Anyway, so be careful when you make these orders. You may be buying one that you think is discounted because of clearance, but really it's discounted because it doesn't have a riser, or they're still discounting those. So anyway. So Wesley says, Simpsons Cabinet. Can't wait for Daytona. House of the Dead. I think MVSX Arcade was the MVP for 2020. Now, that is a cabinet I reviewed, and that one literally broke my back, so I didn't buy it. Instead, I spent the money on doctor bills. But no, that's just a joke. But basically, if you guys have following me, my back problem started because I lifted the MVSX and try to rebox it to ship it to the next content creator. That's my bad. It's not Unico's fault, but yeah, that was tough. So Mikey was saying, will T2 be online? Right? That one's leaderboard only, right? Is that right? I want to say it's leaderboard. That's what I want to say. Let me see real quick. Pretty sure. It's so many cabinets, hard to keep track. Yeah, it's online. Everything's online, but like whether or not it's leaderboard, and then bowling is not. See, Wi-Fi leaderboards. So there's no like real-time gameplay. It's not like someone else can be shooting with you, you know? But you can submit your score and you can compete for high scores. We'll see how that works out. I think that'll be kind of cool. Hey, that's a good reminder. If you're liking this content so far, hit that like button below and double check your subscription is at the setting that you would prefer. Maybe you're not subscribed. Maybe you thought you were subscribed and you want to subscribe. I welcome that. And if you want to get notifications from me, check and make sure if you want to get all notifications. That's what I recommend, but you do you, right? Wait, what? QVC has Simpsons for like $1 million? Are you serious? What is going on? Are you serious? Is it really $1 million? Now I gotta see this. Guys. QVC. Did QVC really do Arcade1Up for $1 million? Let me switch over to this. All right. No way. $869. Wow. It is basically $1 million. Your average gamer is right. Wow. I guess it's a good deal if you want to pay 5 easy payments, but hey, you know, it's in stock. I don't know. See, that trackball looks really big, by the way. That trackball does look, I don't know. But see, that one's a render, but then in the video, that's an interesting one. That's bothering me a little bit. Okay, Frank D says, I have to agree with Clax. I think we're going to see a Partycade, Countercade, and Legacy products become more popular as the other cabs rise in price. You get more bang for the buck. Yeah, I think that's going to happen. It's kind of funny to think that the Partycade was almost discontinued. It was basically discontinued when they did their first run. I don't think it was something that people really liked. Yeah. But we got another voicemail. I got to play it. It's the voicemail. Check it out.
Console kids, this is Rev from Put Your Quarters on the
Glass. Put your quarters on the glass.
You the downtown hard in the yard approach. You're asking the best cabinets of 2021.
What is it?
There's one answer.
What is it, Rev?
You know what that answer
What is it?
It's the big.
It's the big blue
machine.
Let's just call it, guys. Let's call it the number one cabinet of 2021. Let's just call it. You guys know what it is, right? It's Big Blue. Let's just call it. This wins. This officially wins Arcade1Up Best Cabinet of the Year. I'm going to put a poll together. Does Big Blue... Give it to me real. This is just my opinion, but I want to know what your opinion is. Does Big Blue win number one home arcade cab of the year? I could be wrong. I put it out there. I put the chat out there. Let's see what people say. Let's see. I gotta unpin this thing. Okay, remove that guy. There we go. And Nate UT, thank you so much for becoming a member. I really appreciate that. And let's see. I don't know. The votes are starting to come in. It's wobbling around. It's definitely wobbling around, or koogling, as I recently learned. There's a new word that I learned today. A buddy of mine was like, "Have you ever heard the word koogling?" Koogling? You mean Googling, like with a G? He's like, no, koogling. Koogling. With a C or a K. He was like, I don't know. Koogle. Yeah. This is dumb. I have no clue what koogling means. Anyway, you can Koogle it. Fine. Anyway, that's dumb. Anyway, so the votes are starting to come in, but what do you guys say? Mike of All Trades says hashtag free NVC2. Frito is saying the QVC Partycades are now $199. $1.99? That would be great, huh? He says it's $199. What's left of the Galaga and the Super Pack? Man, they're just lowering that price. I'll bet free shipping. Is it with shipping or without shipping? Jeff got 2 and no one needs 2. Nobody has 2 arcades. Wow, you have 2 arcades? You must be rich. Let's see. Let's see what we got in the chat. I'm trying to catch up with it. I kind of went on. You're all a bunch of Kooglists. Do another vote with a multi-choice. Big Blue. Okay, I'm going to do it, buddy. All right, we're going to do another vote. So the results are we're going to end the poll. The current poll, what do we get? We're going to get some results in a second of the current one. And I'm going to, come on, let me do one more poll, and we're going to end the show with 2 minutes. Okay. Does it allow you to do multiple choice? Yes. Okay, we got Big Blue is one of them. We got Tron as another one. Does it only let you pick 2? This thing's so dumb. I'm sorry. Do this. I can't do the poll. It won't let me. Everybody just start spamming the chat. Spam the chat with your pick. Your number one pick. Just type in pick and the cab. And I'm just going to highlight it as fast as we can. And we'll do it. We'll do it like that. And we're going to end the show that way. Yeah, Justin's Tool used to. I got to rework it. I was just thinking about that recently. Like, I shut it all down. I still have all the code for it, but I turned off the server and everything like that. Got to get it all back in. So we got Paul. His favorite cabinet is Justin's Tool. We got Furl Inferno with X-Men. How can Tron be an option? There's some people that like the Tron, okay? I guess my call is not going to be played yet. I'm sorry, there was some people that called... I haven't screened everything. I was able to real-time screen these other call. I was able to do the other one, but I don't know. Maybe you called late, Brad. Like,
hey, Justin. This is Venomous. I think I've been there from pretty much the beginning. I'm kind of a lurker. I do speak occasionally, though.
okay.
As far as favorite one are one-up arcade cabinets for this year. Big Blue is there.
Big Blue.
But surprisingly enough, second place is the Defender Partycade.
Oh, Defender Partycade.
I am at it right now. It calls to me every day. The way that the high scores are displayed, even the games that would be considered weak still have a side bezel, and the price is phenomenal.
Yeah.
3 Partycades for $600 with the Big Blue. I don't know. I'd probably call that my tie. I appreciate you, my brother. Later.
Yeah. That's a good point. Let's see. I'm sorry, buddy. I think this is Zohar doing a trick.
Hey, Justin. This is Michael Paxton. Long-time caller. Oh, I'm sorry. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Yeah, Tron is a good cab. Simpson is 2 both classics. I think those are the 2 cabs. It's going to be best of 2021. So, anyway, love the show. Big fan. Have a good one.
Okay, whoever that is, they live in California, and they say they're not Michael Jackson. It sounds like it's Zohar. Let's see. We're going through these picks. Tron. Okay. Tron. X-Men. Zero Hero. Big Blue. Kevin with X-Men. Killer Instinct. There we go. From Sasa Fam Bam Bam. Phil with Defender. That's right. I didn't mention Defender, or I kind of glossed over like the Mortal Kombat as well. There could have been more in there. My family with the ALU. Big Blue from Gross Gaming. Lori with Tron. Nate with Tempest. Mike with Pong Countercade. All right. Justin's tool is way better than the Googling tool. And we got Gary, Defender Partycade. Tron. Clax with Tempest. Let's see. Tron, let's see. Hands down, best cab ever was the MVSX from Vic Vicious. No biggie. I'm sorry. I tried to get them all in there. I didn't see in there, Papa Brad. I'm sorry. Big Blue from CT Jason. We got Tempest, Garage Gamer, Pictron, Big Blue for release in Tron and all cabs mentioned this year. My message has a lot of cursing. I didn't see yours either. I wonder if Google just deletes it or something. The Babycade. There we go. Babycade, number 1. That shouldn't even get an honorable mention. Venomous says, I called myself a lurker too. There you go. We got Defender for Phil. We got Vic Vicious. Best cab so far. Big Blue, but waiting for Killer Instinct. There you go. Bruce Lee, the Dragon. Let's go. Tron. Wait. Okay. I love you, Zohar. You're messaging me something. Thanks, Papa Brad. You are the chosen one. Let's see. Brad. Thank you, CT. Jason, for the support. I'm trying to catch up with the chat here. We only have 2 more minutes. Let's see if I can do it. Paul with, okay, Tron with his J. Michael Paxton says, thanks, Justin. What's a Zohar? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Tron is the best looking cab. Tron, man, there's a lot of Tron. See what I'm telling you? We have this theme. Let's see. Be specific, though. Cab of the year. Is it Arcade1Up? Or if it's BBSF2 and Defender Partycade, iArcade is MFL. AtGames is ALP. That's interesting. We could do that, yeah. Defender. Maybe we have to do a better one, a different show with a different topic like this. Technically, Michael Jackson doesn't live in California anymore. That's a good point. Tron the Cab. I still want Simpsons. And that's my time, guys. I'm sorry. I wanted to highlight more, but that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week when we do yet another Home Arcade podcast. And we got to end it with some music, right? Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you enjoyed this video. We're here every Sunday at 7 Pacific, And it's been a lot of fun. And I'll see some of you in a little bit. You know what I'm talking about, right? See you guys. Bye. Wait a second. Hold on, I gotta do this weird. It's telling me something. He's like, YouTube is all like, I see what you're doing, and it's not gonna work the way you want it to, so you gotta do this other thing. And then, let's see if it'll let me. Okay, I'm gonna have to end the stream. Hold on, you other guys. Okay.